Arthur, does it help to have someone to talk to?
My mother always tells me to smile and put on a happy face. She told me I had a purpose to bring laughter and joy to the world. Hey, stop them! Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by.
What?
If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile, and maybe tomorrow you'll find that life is still worthwhile. If you
What's so funny?
just
Freak!
Gotham has lost its way. What kind of coward would do something that cold-blooded? Someone who hides behind a mask.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy.
if you just smile.
Hey guys, Johnny back with Rock and Pop Vinyls, and I am now doing my official second movie review of the channel. So this weekend I had the opportunity to see Joker, and let me tell you, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic movie. I know the movie has a lot of shroud behind it right now and controversy regarding the violence, and I'm going to go right into this right away, and I'm just going to nip this in the bud. This movie is actually not that violent at all compared to other things that I don't want to say that we deem acceptable, but for instance, like Deadpool or a John Wick movie. These movies have very high body counts, and they're very violent, but of course they're shrouded in also comedy and martial arts and things like that. Where the Joker gets this kind of controversy right now is mainly because of the realism in this movie. This is a very, 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 very realistic movie. This is not your cookie cutter comic book movie by any stretch of the imagination. The movie takes place in 1981. It follows the main character, which is Arthur Fleck, who has a really rough life. I mean, nothing comes easy for this guy at all in this entire film. This movie carries with it that kind of dread you feel. It does take place in Gotham City, famous, of course, for the Batman comic books, and it's a very sad. It just is. There's nothing in this movie that is bright and cheery. There is no real comedy moments. There's a couple of moments where you just kind of snicker a little bit, but that's about it. Following Arthur Fleck through his life and how he himself, the movie deals a lot with mental illness, or the lack of what we do as a society for people with mental illness. And so this movie tackles a lot of very hard subject matter that is current today. The biggest thing in this movie is mental illness and the effects that it has on Arthur Fleck, and how he gets beat down continuously throughout this movie. What could happen to somebody with a mental illness like this. And when they hit the brink, this whole movie is about the breaking point of a man. There's also the overall, not an overall consensus, but there was a feeling out there where a lot of people felt that they were glorifying violence. They were glorifying the villain, which is the Joker. And that's actually not the case at all in this film. The film is just depicting what if this happened, to someone with mental illness. And at some point during the movie, we follow the progression, and it just goes from worse to worse to worse to finally boom. And of course, this is a spoiler-free video about the movie. I may do a non-spoiler, a video down the road here in a week or so, full of spoilers, where I could just talk about my overall feelings, some of the cool things that happened in this movie. Overall, let's talk about Joaquin Phoenix. His performance is freaking phenomenal. He's in every scene in this movie. There's not one scene in this movie without him in it. Is he worthy of an Oscar? I don't know about that. Should he be nominated? Absolutely, 100%. He needs to be nominated. This movie does not work without Joaquin Phoenix at all. I really don't even think any other actor out there could have pulled this off to the degree to which he does. He lost a lot of weight for the role. He really just took on the method acting that would take to really portray this character, and also convey just that doom, and just kind of see that the change that he goes through in this movie. I recommend it highly. There's a lot I've seen where I was reading recently, some people call it a slow burn. This movie is that. It's definitely a slow burn. Some people have talked about how they don't know if they could watch it a second time. I'm the direct opposite. I would need to go see this movie again, maybe a second or third time, to really take it in. And of course, I'm a big DC fan, especially Batman and that entire world. But this movie was just amazing to me. All your even your Robert De Niro's in this, Zazie Beetz is in this, and their performances were fine as well. But they're just aesthetic. They fill the roles fine. Like I said, this movie is Joaquin Phoenix and a story. There would be no movie without him. The violence in the movie is there for sure. But it's very realistic, and it's not, like I said, it's not a comic book movie. I'm kind of hoping maybe this will start a new trend, mainly with DC figures. DC figures are probably the easiest to make these dark movies like this. But man, it was just really, really enjoyable. I thoroughly recommend it. Like I said, I don't want to give too much away. They bring up the Wayne family quite a bit in the movie, mainly his father, Thomas Wayne. He's a big figure in this movie. There is an introduction to Bruce Wayne, but they don't go over the top with it. They're there. This is one of those movies where, to be honest with you, they could easily have taken the entire Joker DC Universe characters out of it, and this movie would still work as a movie if we were trying to talk about mental illness, crime. It's a sad movie, really. Overall, it's a very sad movie. It's got a very climactic ending. Again, like I said, spoiler free. I don't want to give any of this away. But if you are thinking about watching this movie, or you have any reservations, go ahead, go see it. The violence really is in this movie. It's on par with, say, like a Reservoir Dogs, or I think like Natural Born Killers, and this movie actually doesn't even come close to those movies, but it's in that realm on the violence scale. Like I said, again, I mentioned earlier in the my review here, I talked about like movies like Deadpool and John Wick. I mean, those body counts are really high. Those are extremely violent movies, but for some reason, as a society, they're acceptable of violence. Where something like this, it's really eye-opening. I think it's a little too close to home. This is definitely something that could happen to anyone, and could happen in today's landscape. It really could. Mental illness is something that is, I believe as a society we do the best we can, but I also believe it's something that is still not truly understood. And with the character of Arthur Fleck, I think if he did have a support system behind him, which none of that happens in this movie. He only has his mother, who is ill, that he takes care of, and he's just, everything's an uphill battle for him, to the point where he's just beaten down by society, to the point of no return. Hence, he evolves into Joker. And so anyway, I love this movie, absolutely. I love it, love it, love it. I give it 4 beers. So cheers. Like I said, 4 beers for Joker. 1, 2, 3, 4. I love it. So go see it. And until next time with my next movie review, this is Rock and Pop Vinyls. Like the channel, subscribe. Any comments? Tell me what you thought about Joker. I'd love to get the feedback from you. And yeah, so that's it. Till next time, guys. Bye.